Welcome back to the book club. You must have heard that phrase. That quality of thoughts leads to quality of life, that is, the way your thoughts are going on, that is how your life is being designed. But is it easy to control? Now I just say that if the question is made, then the answer is definitely made. But as long as there are books in this world, there will be answers to every question. And if you implement the learning of today's book summary practically in your life, then it is certain that your thoughts will be in your control, and the kind of thoughts you will then generate, you will be able to design the same life for yourself. So today's book summary is Think Straight Change, Your Thoughts Change Your Life, which is written by Darius Foroux. If you want to improve your life and make better decisions in life, then definitely read this summary and listen to it. In the 18th century, a young man completes a degree in medicine from Harvard. At the same time, he's dealing with mental health issues. Although he was studying medicine, his mental state was not good. He was depressed and often had suicidal thoughts. This young man's name was William James, who later became America's best psychologist, and the credit of laying the foundation of a school of philosophy called pragmatism also goes to James. James suffered from depression for 3 years. During this time, he spent most of his time thinking about why he should not commit suicide. At this time, they used to have panic attacks and hallucinations or the feeling of being what they are not. Actually, James inherited this disease because his father also had depression, and he also had suicidal thoughts. So James felt that his mental condition was biological, for which there was no cure. But in the 18th century, he began to think about it from a different point of view. James read an essay written by a philosopher. It explained that when a person has many thoughts at once, he has the choice of a free will. That is, to focus on one thought. After reading this essay, James thought he would apply this definition to his hallucinations. This made James realize that if a person wants, he can choose another thought in exchange for a thought. It means we can control our thoughts. This idea later became the core of pragmatic, the foundation of which he laid many years later. However, James understood that we cannot control our consciousness. There are many thoughts in our mind, but because of free will, you can choose which thought you want to focus on. That is, if a person keeps practicing, then he can decide what he should think and what he should not. Controlling your thoughts is very important in life. It helps you to be successful in every field of life, be it career, finance, relationship, or any other matter. Many historians agree with this. As Ralph Waldo Emerson said, "We are what we think about all the time. Your actions are the result of your thoughts. If you have to change your actions, then first of all you have to change your thoughts. And in this summary, you will learn a lot more about controlling your thoughts. Let's start with this audiobook. Use works. Your brain is the most powerful tool in the world. It is more complex and more miraculous than any technological device. But there's a problem. We humans are born with an amazing brain, but we don't know how to use it properly and fully. We are also very practical. We think we are great thinkers and take decisions logically. But the research proves otherwise. Over the past several centuries, scientists have discovered more than 100 cognitive biases or thinking errors. He explains how we make decisions based on our emotions and gut feeling without thinking about the facts. Darius Foroux, the author of this book, has read many books on cognitive bias. They are written about such stories or events when people make mistakes in thinking. Darius wants to help us change and correct the way we think, and that's why he wrote this book. The first Darius was also the same as you. He didn't know how to control his thoughts. If they were happy today, they would be sad tomorrow. Even they could not solve the simple problems of daily life. But he had learned to improve his thinking with the help of practice, reading, generalizing, and thinking. Now Darius is no longer a slave to his mind. They don't let their thoughts dominate them. They control them. They can think straight. Straight thinking does not mean how intelligent you are or how good you are at solving math problems. Rather, it means being able to successfully control your thoughts. By doing this, you can live a happy, healthy, and meaningful life. You must know the difference between work and waste. Before reaching any conclusion, study the facts calmly and try to look at things from a different perspective. Then we came to a conclusion. Clear thinking required training. Our mind is like a muscle, which needs daily exercise to keep it healthy and fit. Learning new things is a good way to keep your mind fit. But many people feel that learning is limited to just school. as when they studied to get a bachelor's or master's degree. At school, we learn new ideas and skills that change the way we think and live our lives. But once we get used to a mindset, it is difficult to change it. We develop a habit and sit relaxed instead of exercising our mind. People often say that I now have to sit comfortably and enjoy a little Netflix, but who do we need rest from? Are there the same reputable office tasks or the same familiar thoughts? We probably like to fight our brains out until we really need to. Like when we have exams, then only we study, otherwise we sit comfortably and keep thinking that let it go. What is the use of it? The good point is that your mind needs exercise. Proper training is required for straight thinking. Darius created a diagram to show what the untrained mind looks like. When your thoughts are out of your control, they look like dark and dirty lines written on a piece of paper. That is, happy, sad, positive, negative, and confusing thoughts are mixed together in it, which are constantly going on in the mind. The solution is that you should move from this chaos to clarity, from chaos to clarity. In 2014, Darius moved from his hometown in the Netherlands to London. About 100,000 people lived in his hometown, while the population of London alone was 7 million. It was more difficult to settle elsewhere than Darius had thought. The first question was to find a place to stay. Darius had found a new job in London. If they rented an apartment in a hurry, the landlord would take advantage of their compulsion and demand more rent. So Darius stayed in a rented room for the first 3 months. A few days later, he started looking for an apartment from where he could reach his office within hours. But nothing happened as planned. It was only 2 months after he arrived in London that he got a cheap one-bedroom apartment. He left the rental apartment and entered into an agreement with his landlord. Darius's parents and brother came from the Netherlands to shift his belongings. But Darius did not have that much. All his things fit in his car. Now they just had to get the keys to their new home and move all their belongings there. Darius thought that all this work would be solved in a single day. But on that occasion, his new landlady suddenly changed her mind and cancelled the agreement. She had told Darius the day before they moved. Now Darius had no place to live. All his belongings were in the car, and he stayed in his parents' hotel room that night. Darius was beginning to feel nervous. He was under a lot of stress. They had no idea what to do in the face of fear and doubt. Darius was blaming himself for all of this, because now his parents would have to leave the hotel. But I thought they were being too dramatic. He couldn't think clearly. Darius began to laugh at himself because he was facing a small problem. The next morning, he was completely stress-free and began to think coolly. He ordered his mind to think straight. Darius wanted to shift his mind from chaos to clarity. He imagined his mind through a diagram, on the left side of which were crooked lines of useless thoughts. His stress was made up of anxiety and confusion. One of the arrows was going towards the right side, where there was a clear circle. This circle was only pointing towards the purpose of a work. Darius realized that if he chose a straight thinking approach, it would be easier to find a solution. So now Darius took some clear decisions from straight thinking. He booked an Airbnb for a week's stay. Later, his landlady called him and told him that she could give him the apartment on rent as she had changed her mind again. Darius realized that he was unnecessarily taking so much stress and tension. So the author's story is an example of our weaknesses that are inside the human being. We start judging immediately assume anything and come to a conclusion. We often make mistakes and change our decisions, but this is completely normal. Yes, not having control over your thoughts, they are not normal. After such a useless thinking experience, Darius decided to change himself. He had learned to replace the chaos of his mind with clarity. Darius had learned to calm himself. He only let thoughts of work come to his mind, so the next audiobook will tell you how clarity can be achieved. A brief history of thinking. In the earlier audiobook, you know that there are both useful and useless thoughts. All thoughts are not important, so it is very important to know the difference between them. As Marcus Aurelius once said, the universe is always changing and our lives are shaped by our thoughts. Take a look around yourself. Today, gadgets have turned humans into walking ghosts. Jobs are shrinking, salary is the same, but the cost of living is rising. The world is changing so fast that it is difficult to keep pace with it. People are living in fear and uncertainty. You ask yourself, How do I survive? How to make more money? How do I maintain my sanity? It's very difficult to control your emotions. Since the 5th century, philosophers around the world have agreed that the human mind is a tool for problem solving. The quality of your life depends on the quality of your thoughts. Socrates, Confucius, René Descartes, and William James all described effective ways of thinking. The Greek philosopher Socrates used to question everything, even in your thoughts. When he was called the most intelligent man in the world, Socrates said, "The only thing I am sure of is that I know nothing." The truth is that Socrates says he knows nothing. That's what makes them smart. The French philosopher René Descartes went one step further. He was obsessed with everything in the world, even in its own existence. The Scottish used to say, "I think, therefore I am." They concluded that their existence was due to their thinking. The Scottish thought about their thoughts, and in that they found many kinds of contractions, i.e. thoughts completely opposite to each other. They realized that we should also question the source of our beliefs, because many of our beliefs come from the point of view or opinion of others. Think for a moment, what are your thoughts that are influenced by others? Your first assumption is to simply assume something without testing it. What are the assumptions based on? You have the ability to differentiate between facts and lies. William James defined pragmatism as looking beyond the first assumption to facts and results. Your thoughts must have a practical purpose, otherwise they are useless. This is what it means to think straight. Remember that the quality of your life depends on the quality of your thoughts, so choose your thoughts wisely. The next chapter is Life is not linear. Many people think that life is linear, that is, it moves like a straight line. We believe in many things. We follow the mindset and beliefs of the people around us. For example, Darius thought that if he was a college graduate, he would easily get a job. But soon the truth came out. There is nothing certain or fixed in life, and money does not grow on trees. You will have to work hard to earn money. The college degree. It has nothing to do with making money. Darius realized that skill completion was more important than a college degree. If you are an expert in something, you are adding more value to that work. But in return for your excellent skills, people will also be ready to pay you more. Darius also learned that achieving a goal is never in a straight line. However, most people feel as if you want to start a business, for example. It is a straight arrow that can take you toward your goal. You have to work hard to get there. However, the truth is far from that. This journey to reach your goal will be full of ups and downs. It's not like a straight line. The road is narrow and winding. Darius himself had worked for many people before becoming his boss. He also started a business that didn't work. He was disappointed and almost gave up. Darius realized that he would need a backup plan and other options to be successful. Accept that life is not straightforward. It helps us to think clearly. In addition to starting a business, Darius was also interested in real estate. Initially, he wanted to invest in London, but the cost of real estate was very high in these cities, and he did not have so much money. That's why Darius began to look for other options. He studied the growing real estate market and finally decided to invest in his hometown in the Netherlands. Prices were low and the population was growing rapidly. A lot of investment was being made in schools and businesses in his city. Besides, Darius knew many people there because he had lived there before. He soon found a good deal in his hometown. You can learn from this example that there can be many ways to achieve your goals. If the first option fails, you can try the second option. Another lesson is that popular choice is not always the right choice. You should decide for yourself and come to a conclusion based on the facts. Filter your thoughts. We can't process information from around the world, so our brain has evolved to filter, and it uses mental shortcuts. These shortcuts help us process information and make quick decisions. These mental shortcuts are called heuristics. These are the strategies that we apply to the same problem. An example of heuristics is the trial and error method. However, this is not always practical because if you use the trial and error method to build a career, then your whole life may go into it before you become successful. Another practical heuristic is social proof. This happens when we follow what others do and say, and we ourselves do not think. At the same time, familiarity means following the same routine. The problem with familiarity is that sometimes we have to take risks to do something big and amazing. So heuristics or mental shortcuts often give negative results. It is better to apply pragmatism to filter thoughts and take decisions than heuristics, because the basic idea of pragmatism is true is what works, true is what works. Like a person can say that taking drugs benefits me, but you don't have to take its internal meaning. As the saying goes, good things come to those who wait. That is, those who are patient will get good results. But this does not mean that you should sit at home and wait for good results. Instead, you can apply true what works as a filter for thoughts that your brain can accept. True is what works means processing the information that directly affects your life. If the information is not useful, ignore it. Consider only those ideas that will make your life better. For example, many people believe that big opportunities are available in big cities. Darius felt the same way. That's why he came to London in search of a job and got a high-paying job. But the big job also brought with it big problems and responsibilities. Also, Darius realized that he did not like large cities. He strongly disliked the high cost of living, pollution and crowded places of big cities. They realized that they had to change their mindset. Darius returned to his hometown in the Netherlands. Here they could earn better in less work because small towns are more peaceful, and he knew a lot of people here. Within 10 minutes they could go anywhere in the entire city. The rest will probably say that this hometown life of Darius is boring and unsatisfying. But for Darius, it was the best that worked for him, and you should do what works for you. This way you can be practical. Stop thinking. There are always thoughts in the mind of a person, especially at night when you're sleeping. You must have realized by now that 99% of your thoughts are useless or do not help you to solve a problem or understand a complex idea. You probably spend most of your time thinking about where I don't fail, where I don't get cancer, where my life doesn't get ruined. People will think I'm a loser. I want to leave everything, but said such thoughts. After all, what is the purpose? Are you unsure of the answer to this question? That's the thing. It cannot be answered that the stated examples are just idle thoughts. They don't help us. But if we do, what is the solution? The solution is simply to be aware of these thoughts. Instead of blaming yourself, focus on which thoughts to ignore and which ones. Thoughts will come in handy in taking decisions. For many years, Darius also had futile thoughts of giving up or giving up. When he was in high school, he wanted to quit school and work. When he played basketball, he didn't want to practice, so he wanted to quit the game. Darius had thought about giving up something many times in his life. The thought of leaving the things he loved often came to his mind. Eventually, Darius realized that it was too much. He decided not to think about it anymore. He became aware of his thoughts and started telling him that, "You cannot control me." This might sound a little weird, but it's true. After controlling his thoughts, Darius was calmer and happier than before. Darius recognized the desire to give up or give up something as fear, but he refused to give up, and he asks you to do the same. The next chapter is inside your control versus outside your control. How do you differentiate between work and waste? So let's take a simple example. Work thoughts are about things that you can control. This rule will automatically reject your 99 thoughts, because very few things in life are under our control. Imagine a diagram. There is a big circle that shows your life. There is another small circle inside it. The things that are inside this small circle are in your control, and what is outside it is out of your control. So always focus on this small circle. This includes your actions, desires, and intentions. Idle thoughts have no purpose and are about things that are out of our control, such as our past. Unless you learn from your mistakes, it will be useless to think about the past again and again. Same thing applies even if you are troubled by thinking about the future. There are two types of work. First one, finding solutions to problems. Whatever be the problem of the world, your brain will find a solution to it. The second is knowledge. Apply what you've learned to improve your career, relationships, and life. That's all you need to do. All other thoughts are meaningless. Don't waste your time and energy on such things. There is no use in worrying about the past or the future. Therefore, focus on finding solutions and gaining as much knowledge as possible. Don't worry about anything else. Look at the facts. People always assume things. That is, they simply accept it as true without testing it. If someone can't reply to your message, you think they don't care about you, When someone says sorry, you think they are making a false apology. If you ever get a headache, then you feel that you have got some big disease. But this is not practical, because this is just an exception, and this is not a fact. Exemption includes opinion, belief, guessing, and imagination. Areas of study include statistics, and research. Straight thinking means rejecting all the exceptions and focusing only on the facts. But there is a difference between facts and truth. For example, people often ask, is there a God? Scientists do not agree with this because they have not seen any proof of it. But their opinion should not affect you. Yes, but if God has an impact on our lives, then his existence is true for us. And then anyone can say anything. The German philosopher Friedrich Nietzsche once said that there are no facts. As humans, we can only rely on our interpretation of reality because we can never accurately confirm reality. But that doesn't mean everything we know isn't real and we're just living in a dream world. We just need to know that facts and truth are not the same thing. The thing is, you can't convince other people to believe your opinion because they may have a different understanding of that truth. So focus your energy on the things you can control. Before the invention of language, our ancestors used to communicate through images and drawings. Leonardo da Vinci, one of the world's greatest thinkers, often drew his thoughts. His notebooks were always full of sketches and diagonal lines. Even if you are not as skilled as Vinci, you can apply the principle of drawing your thoughts. Drawing helps you visualize your idea because it is very clear in your mind. You can draw anything from simple sketches, graphs, or cartoons. This allows you to better analyze your options. You can make a plan or get an idea through an article. Like, for example, Darius had created a diagram, which we had also described in the earlier chapter, from chaos to clarity. It has horizontal slant lines on the left side and an arrow points towards a clear circle on the right. This diagram shows the core idea of this book. Apart from drawing, you can write your thoughts in a diary. This will give you time to think. Many people who are successful and happy write journals. They write down in their diary the lessons they have learned or the mistakes they have made and the goals they want to achieve. You can also write your own autobiography. This will help you know yourself better. Darius also recommends that you review your notes weekly. That's the best way to think about it. By reading your notes, you can avoid making the same mistakes and check your progress to see how close you are to your goal. Also, you can organize your thoughts. That is, keeping a diary or journal helps you make better decisions. Darius has also explained some principles and practical money rules. The first rule is don't buy what you don't need. Second, save 10% of your monthly income. Third, stay away from debt and foreclosure. Invest in something that gives good returns. Fifth, it's just money. That's why don't be a snob. These rules help Darius because he does not worry much about money. There is so much money in their savings account that they can withdraw comfortably for 6 months, and this much time is a lot for them. To decide your next step, with these 5 rules, the only condition is that you must invest in your skills. Investing is not just about stocks or real estate, but it also involves reading books, attending seminars, and buying tools to upgrade your skills. For example, you invest in a new laptop because you will use it to earn money. You don't have to get the latest iPhone or luxury items like bags, shoes, or clothes every year. You have to stop your desire for material things and train yourself to discipline. If a person loses all the money, then he can earn again. But as time goes on, it never comes back. So don't waste time thinking about money. Thinking can help you and destroy you. It all depends on the quality of your work. In this summary, you learned how to use your mind effectively. Sometimes you need to think out of the box and sometimes you don't need to think at all. But only you will decide what will be applicable according to the situation. It is generally advised not to waste too much time on thinking because it is unproductive. If you do not take any action, then your thinking is useless. Effective thoughts change into effective actions. It also includes ideas on how to improve your life, how to grow your business, how to solve problems, how to create new ideas, and how to spend quality time with your family. Practical thinking requires hard work and discipline, and just like any other skill, it requires daily practice. But every choice is an opportunity to train their practical thinking. If you don't do this, you will waste your time on useless thoughts like complaining or taking pity on yourself. Sometimes you start taking so much stress that you forget to enjoy the small joys of life. Did you see the rising sun this morning? Are you enjoying your coffee? If the answer is no, then it's time to get out of your thoughts and enjoy your present moment. The next chapter is inner work. One of the benefits of straight thinking is the peace of mind you get. No matter what happens in life, you have to stay calm in every situation. Inner work means peace of mind, means keeping your thoughts under your control. Let us again remind you that this is possible and you can achieve it with daily practice. Some people call it mindfulness and some call it meditation. Now call it whatever. But to learn it, you have to take a $10,000 course, or attendance at the seminar is not required. Just sit comfortably and observe your thoughts and let them come. This is simple meditation, mindfulness or inner work. Whatever you call it, you can practice inner work several times throughout the day. You can practice it while sitting up, exercising, writing, drinking coffee, or doing any other work. You don't need a yoga mat or a teacher to help you control your thoughts. And you don't need to go on vacation for that. Do this at any time of the day. You just have to have that much willpower within you. Decide what you like. When you control your thoughts, you will achieve peace and tranquility from within. If you search pragmatism on Google, you will find that this school of philosophy was created by Charles Sanders Peirce. He was a former Johns Hopkins professor and an expert in logic and mathematics. If you delve deeper into this, you will find that William James declared Peirce the founder of pragmatism in 1898. William had known James Peirce since they were both students at Harvard. James believed that scientists spend their time on theories and abstract ideas that have no impact on people's lives. Pragmatism says that your idea should have practical value. James credited Peirce with pragmatism, which earned Peirce some respect in society, and some of his papers were published before he died. No one else could have done what William James did for Peirce, and that's what makes him great. Of course, he was a pioneer of pragmatism, but he did not have an appetite for name and fame. But he helped him a lot by giving all the credit to his friend. As William James once said, "The best use of life is to put it to something that will last even after death." You may find this idea impractical. You might be wondering, what's the point of creating something you can't live to see? However, this isn't the case. You have to live with that principle in mind. Consider doing something every day. Create something that works for others. This is the one way to impact the lives of others and leave a legacy behind in every mode that we call it. That is, we will repeat here the learning of all the chapters we have read and heard so far. You know that the core idea of pragmatism is the ability of a person to help him control his thoughts. You can choose which thoughts to focus on and take your action based on that. You know that straight thinking requires practice. They are emotions like tension, confusion, and fear that surround your mind. But you have to get out of this chaos and move towards clarity. If you know the purpose of thoughts at work, then you know that the quality of your thoughts affects the quality of your life. Your thoughts must have a purpose. If they don't, it's meaningless. Filter the thoughts that can improve your life and do what's right for you. This way you can be pragmatic. As you go further, the work thoughts help you to solve the problem and increase your knowledge. They also show things you can control, such as your action words and intentions. Writing or drawing your thoughts helps you think clearly. You can also write about your ideas, mistakes, or goals. Drawing or writing down thoughts also helps you think and make better decisions. You also know that effective thoughts give effective results. These ideas include growing your business, creating new ideas, solving problems, and spending time with your family. Straight thinking requires constant practice, but you can train your mind daily. The ideas that come to your mind should have practical value. So think about it and make up your mind. Remember, your thoughts should be workable and effective. They should have some purpose, and they should be about things that you can control. Practice daily straight thinking to improve your career, relationship, and life. Be the master of your thoughts. Be calm and enjoy your life. Use pragmatism to achieve success. At this juncture, this summary ends here, but in all its chapters, many such small pointers are given to us, which we can improve our life by practically implementing in our life and controlling our thoughts. We can improve the quality of our lives by controlling the quality of our thoughts. I hope you all liked this summary. How was your experience? Which point touched you the most? At what point do you work the most? Be sure to write in the comments section and the next book summary you want to hear. You can also suggest us. See you again very soon with another new book summary. Till then, take better care of yourself.